Hi everyone and welcome to another live stream. So today we are going to continue with our analysis that we started yesterday, and yesterday we were trying to compute highs and lows that are necessary for price action recognition. And unfortunately, we've run into some bugs, so today we'll just continue with that. So basically, as you can see on the chart here that we drew yesterday, we're basically trying to create like a series of highs and lows to actually, find highs and lows, which are then, for example, as you can see the setup, we have a lower high, lower low, trying to find a downtrend and then a reversal at this point down here. So it's just an example, and currently we are still stuck in Python. What we're trying to do is, like, we had two options. The first one was, compute the highs and lows using the zigzag indicator. And the second option that we could use is using a moving average crossover. So for a crossover, we will just compute the recent low and high for each crossover period. And this is currently where we're stuck at. So let's also quickly jump into our current trade. So as you can see, we are still in a loss on BTCUSD. It is still hovering around minus 238 euro. But yeah, we're still in the trade, and we still have how many days to go? Let me look. Today is the 11th of October, so we still have 20 days to go. So let me also quickly alert my Discord community. So by the way, if you are not part of the Discord community yet, you can join Discord, and here I provide regular updates on my channel. So you can simply find the link for Discord in the descriptions. Okay, so I just posted an update on Discord, and yeah, let's continue with yesterday's analysis. Hello Jack, nice to have you on stream. How are you doing? So yeah, I'm very happy to see you guys, coming regular on the stream. So glad that you enjoy it, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions. So I think I'm set up now, and let's continue where we left off yesterday. So here currently we have an analysis on the SP 500, and as you can see, I'm using slow and fast moving averages to find the crossovers. And here I wrote some sort of function to find the crossovers, and for each crossover period I'm trying to identify the highs and lows. And I've attempted some codes, but this code doesn't work yet. So right now I still have to think about a possible solution. And Martin, who is one of my supporters on the channel, he also sent me some very good solution how to solve this issue. So he also used moving average crossovers, and I think I can just quickly share an image with you guys, so you guys can at least see where we're heading at. So thank you, Martin, for assisting with this solution. And so he's from Argentina, and as you can see, he was able to identify these peaks and valleys that are very useful to identify these pricing patterns. And as you can see, he also was working with Fibonacci numbers. So once we're done with that, we can also have a look at Fibonacci, so that is potentially also very interesting. Martin SH, I'm a little bit late. Could you explain strategy are you using? So yeah, let me just quickly show you what we actually have at the moment. So let me open my spreadsheet, and like currently we've been developing strategies on the channel. Pardon, it's this sheet here where we are doing a mix of swing strategies and intraday trading. So initially one of my first strategies that I posted on this channel was the US 100 Mountain Trading Bot, which is an intraday strategy, and currently we are also along BTCSD trades, which is swing strategy. And then recently we also coded DE40 Breakout Trading Bot, which is also an intraday strategy, and that one is still being tested. And as you can see, S&P 500 XAUSD, we have strategies that are scheduled in November and December. All of that are algorithmic trading strategies. So what we're doing is we're computing indicators, breakouts, reversals. Now we're actually trying to use price action, and then we are performing backtests. So for example, on our DE40 breakout trading bot, if you look at this strategy here, actually the backtest is somewhere here. What we're doing is we are measuring breakouts of the previous session high and low. Let me run this strategy for you so you can see exactly what this strategy is about. And yeah, so now strategy is running. So very quick recap, what the strategy is doing is we are just computing the previous session high and low, and we are checking if there is any breakout of that session high or low. So for example, if you look at this close example here, so for example here we have the previous session low, which is actually this candle right here. So price broke below this support level, and this would, for example, be our short opportunity. And I've run a backtest on this strategy for the past 3 years, and the backtest looks something like that. So we see a profitable curve here, and as I said, this is currently being tested on a VPS. So this strategy is fully automatic. So as I said, it's an algorithmic trading strategy, and we have trading bots running on our server, and currently we have 2 automated trading strategies that are currently running. So I'm using the broker Tickmill, where you can find all the results. And as you can see, the dashboard below me, right, with the MTD profit and floating PNL, this is basically a sum of all strategies that are currently running on this account. So yeah, hopefully I answered your question, and yeah, hopefully you like this type of content. Also, if you want access to the code, because my channel is focused on teaching algorithmic trading and showing how we trade, you can find all the GitHub repository and other things on my website. So it's atjtraders.com, or I also have a new project which is called Trading Labs, where you have access to all my applications, and also you can access this public GitHub repository. So here I'm gonna leave a link if you guys want to check it out. And I think if there are no more questions, I will continue with coding the current strategy. So let's go back to price action analysis. So again, this is what we're working on, right? Or for example, something like this, we are basically trying to measure the highs and lows. Yeah. Let's proceed. And of course, currently we're in loss. Not a very nice thing to look at, but you can't decide when you're profit and loss. But hopefully, over time, and I'm talking, in time range of maybe 12 months from now on, right? So hopefully, like this year, I'm definitely already in a plus, right? So if we sum up all the profits for this year, we've had a profitable year. But next year is going to be very exciting, because now we have all these trading bots published on the channel, so you guys can see actually live and see the exact process, how we trade, and be part of the journey. Okay, so let me just walk you through the process, because currently I'm still working on it, and also I'm having issues myself, understanding what I'm trying to do here, because yesterday, of course, I was a little bit tired, and also, I was struggling a bit with the code. So basically, what the crossovers mean is, like, when we have this crossover, blue line above the red line, we want to compute the maximum value of of this crossover section up here. And then when the blue line is below the red line, we also want to compute the minimum value of this section below here. And we were able to compute something similar, but we had some synchronization issues because sometimes the time values were jumping back and forth. And maybe the issue is also with the fact that here we have a bearish crossover, but the minimum value can be like in prior to this crossover, and that potentially can cause the issue. But let's try to use the old code and see what we get, and then maybe we can work based on that. So here we have a bullish crossover section, and then here we have a bearish crossover section to compute the lows. And here what we do is we have a bullish crossover section, and I will just rename this to crossover section. And I'm going to use this place down here, and I'm going to call this the bearish crossover section. So let me run this and hopefully that will work. Crossover section key error, so it seems like I maybe found issue here. Oh, and I also need to add this thing right here. Okay, so as you guys can see now, we have now a series of highs and lows, but it doesn't look very very good, because the crossover sections are somewhat shifted. So that is of course very unfortunate. So what we actually need to do is we need to align these crossover sections somehow, and maybe and this is something I'm still working on. So hopefully maybe what I can do is maybe if I just work with only bullish crossover sections, I get something like this, right? So you see that it's actually not that easy, and I have to figure out how to have these zigzag patterns chronological, and maybe I could try to maybe sort by time, which theoretically could solve the issue. So what if I just sort values by time, and then this is all we would care about, and then if we run this again, we get something like this. So now we would have series of highs and lows, and in some cases we see that we have two highs in a row, which is actually not that desirable. But at least what we have here is a chronological order of highs and lows that we could potentially use for the price action recognition. So maybe this is actually the solution I needed all along, and I was not able to figure that out yesterday. But fresh sleep and a fresh mind always helps you with these things. So I guess I can just disregard the zigzag indicator, because also of course you can use a zigzag indicator to compute all these things as well. But this should be sufficient. So let's compare the price action data with the chart here, and it does look very similar. So here we have a drop, and then here we have some increases. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to now overlay this data on top of this figure here, so we can actually see how these highs and lows look like on this chart here. So I think I can now delete this section here because it's no longer needed. Now we've successfully computed the highs and lows. And so we take this figure that we have. Pietro Vieira, hi from Brazil. Yes, hi, hello. Nice to have you on the stream. Oh, it's Pietro. I'm sorry for mispronouncing the name. Okay, so now we want to overlay figure. So we need to use fig add trace, which will overlay, the line chart on top of it. So fig is fig.add trace. And now I have to, check the documentation because, I don't remember everything. And oftentimes, I just go to documentation, copy the code, and there's nothing shameful about that. Here we need to add trace, and then we are adding a trace with a line chart. So here we have add trace, and here we can add go.scatter. So this is what we're going to do. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm overlaying the highs and lows with this thing here. So here fig add trace, actually we have to put it right here. And also I need to import plotly graph objects. Petras, how do you do in the chart? Which symbol are you using? Oh, so currently I'm trading the S&P 500 and I'm trying to compute highs and lows for the price action recognition, so something like on this chart here, and I'm using moving averages to identify the highs and lows. So currently we're able, to take, this OHSC data, which are the candlesticks, and with this OHSC data, I've then computed the highs and lows, using the crossovers that I have here. Yes, I do share a code. So it is on my GitHub repository. So please go to my website, Trading Labs. So Trading Labs is, so again, sorry for repeating, guys who are watching the stream, but we have a new viewer, so I just want to make sure that he also gets all the necessary information. So Trading Labs is my website here, and if you just click on GitHub, you will have access to my GitHub repository where I'm coding all of that. So make sure to check it out, or feel free, to check all my other applications that I have here, and we're also, trying to expand and build on that. So more applications are coming, and my course that I'm also doing will be also, part of Trading Labs as well. Okay, so we wanted to add the scatter, and so again, I need to import plotly graph objects. So import plotly. Graph objects as GO, and now I can overlay the chart. Now US 500 is the S&P 500. It is the US stock index. So basically if you just go on Google, this is the S&P 500, right? So these are the 500 stocks, Standard & Poor's stocks for the US market, and just check it out if you want. You have interest in that. Okay, let me skip this music. I always skip this one for some reason. Okay, so let's get back to our scatter plot. So we're adding a trace, and so what we need in this scatter plot here is, so let me open documentation again. So we'll need the documentation for this. So we need to add trace and scatter, and here we have to provide, oh no, this is about the subplot. And here we have to provide X data, Y data, and mode is equal to line. So I think, yeah, this is all that's necessary. So go scatter. Here we add, because it's a subplot, we don't need to provide rows and, what was it? Rows and columns. but all we need to do here is just provide x values and y values. So x is equal to, and here this is we just use the time column from our highs and lows df, and for the y values we provide the value. And then we show the figure. Okay, so now we successfully overlaid the data with the highs and lows, and let's see what it looks like. And now it looks very interesting. So if you look at this, right? So here we have a high, then we have a low here, then we have a high here, then we have a low here, high, low, high, low, high, low. So I think this, yeah, it works quite amazing now that I look at it. So I'm very happy with the results. And now the question is, how do we overlay the data, you know, with price action recognition patterns, right? So this is high, low. So here, for example, here it doesn't look that nice for some reason, because as you can see, I would like to have the high to be here, but actually it just takes two lows into account. So what happens if we have two lows in a row? We will, I guess we can just figure out. Okay, this Pietro asks, this is zigzag, and no, this is not zigzag indicator. It is similar to zigzag. It basically is a moving average crossover, where for every crossover section we're computing the minimum and the maximum. So there are slight differences. As you can see, we still need to do, you know, some cleaning, because as you can see, we still, you know, need to work on something, because sometimes we have like two highs in a row, and in some cases it doesn't look nice. Here it looks somewhat better, and I'm thinking that if we, for example, have two highs and two lows in a row, we will just filter it out, and that way we will have like a clean sort of zigzag. So this is high, this is low, this is the high. Yeah, again here, right? See that? So we have like two lows in a row. So again, I don't like it that much. And I think I can, you know, make a very simple solution. So here we have the types, you know, which is low, high, low, high, low, high, and so on. So I can just, for example, compute, you know, the previous value and compare those and then filter them out. So I can, for example, compute the column previous type, and the previous type is just the type shifted by 1. So if we run this, and now look here, we have type here, and now we're going to create a new column with the previous type. And you see, for example, here we have low with the current type, and the previous type is the previous type is high, because here this is the high, this is the previous type, so it's shifted by 1. So that works. And now if the type is equal to previous type, we just, you know, mark it as like, you know, two same types in a row. So same type in a row. I'm just going to, you know, create like this ugly looking column, and then we would apply very simple sum function. So we use the data frame, apply, use the lambda function, and 1 if x type is equal to x previous type, else 0. So let's try to find a case where Oh, and I also specify axis is equal to 1. And so whenever we have two same types in a row, we want to filter that out. So now what I'm going to do is high-lows df is equal to high-lows df, where the same type in a row is equal to 0. So I only want, you know, one thing, so we're filtering that out. So that way we can always check the previous values. And now we run the scatter plot again. Hopefully we will see, oh, and now I see a problem because I'm using the add trace, and I think ideally we want to make a copy of figure. So in order to make a copy of a figure object, so what we do is figure2 is equal fig.copy, so that way we're making a copy, and then figure2 is basically this. And now we run this again. Oh, we can't use a copy, unfortunately. I just go with from Stack Overflow, so we just, you know, create a new figure and just add the current fig, you know, as an input, and that way, you know, we don't have any overlays in the chart here. Okay, so now let's have a look at the data one more time, and hopefully we will see, you know, some improvement in the, you know, new zigzag. Let's say, like, call it like that. So now everything looks kind of nice. Let me check this. This looks a little bit suspicious. Oh, I actually want to use zoom. So here we have a low, and here we have a high, and that looks like a higher high, so there shouldn't be two highs in a row, and that is also very suspicious because we want, you know, to have, you know, these alternating highs. So ideally I want the high to be here and another low to be here, so it doesn't work like that well yet, so that is very unfortunate. So it does work for most part, but it's still not perfect. So again, I would like the high, for example, not to be here, but maybe to be here. And I wonder what the issue could be. It's the thresholds. Yeah, I think that could be. Like, you can apply the thresholds, of course, but what the actual issue is that we have like two highs in a row and actually fill it out. So this should be a low, and maybe this is being considered as a high. So this is fine. But then directly after, we also have a high, and what I want, you know, is actually, you know, the next low to be lower. Otherwise, we want another high. But yeah, but we can try to change the thresholds. So for example, if I use for fast, you know, SMA instead of period 10, we can, for example, try to use period 50, right? So that way we can maybe clean it out a bit. And then as a result, we might have, as you said, more cleaner highs and lows. And let's have a look at this. Okay, let's rerun this. No, I don't have missing data in data set. I mainly think it's like a mistake in the logic. In the logic how I compute them, because, you know, moving averages, they like now might look confusing. But yeah, so for example, here we have, you know, this part where the blue line or the fast moving average is below the red line. You can see that, right? And so for this period, we just take this period from here to here, and then we compute the minimum. And then after this crossover, we're looking for the period until the next crossover when we compute the maximum. And I think I see the problem now. And the problem is with the fact that the maximum shouldn't be computed at crossover. The maximum should be computed at the next minimum, most likely. So probably what I should do instead is when it crosses above, I shouldn't like compute the maximum when it crosses above again, but I should compute the maximum when it crosses below, and that way I can get like a reliable maximum and min range. Yes, of course, like also we can like change it like into time intervals, I think. So if you like take like time intervals like daily, weekly or monthly, we can just compute like a daily, weekly, monthly maximum minimum, and that way we can also do like more of a time-based high and low, and as a result yeah, we could use that also for price action recognition, I assume. So and that actually might be much easier than using moving averages. And you know what, I'm actually gonna take your advice, and I think maybe we will just put this on hold, because I've been dealing with it for the past 24 hours. So I started since yesterday, and I think we have some reliable results. But let's do a price action analysis like candle interval based. So I'm just gonna rename this this file here, and I'm just gonna call it candle intervals. We're just gonna create a new file, and so instead of moving averages, let's actually just create the highs and lows, for example, based on daily candles. And of course, this is much easier. So let's say I'm going to compute the highs and low of each like day, right? So okay, let's take a small break, take a breath. Now we're starting something completely new. So apologies to those guys who been watching the SMA crossover, but we'll definitely come back to that. It's just that Martin SH, he suggested such a great idea to why don't we just process 120 candles or some candles sample size. And I think it's much easier, and I think the easier it is, the easier it's for me and for you to understand, and also we can immediately start coding some strategies. Okay, so let's just stick again with S&P 500, and now we're just going to use the daily data. I'm just going to delete some files in the new file that I've created, and then we're just going to display the historical price chart. So by running this, okay, so the idea is that we don't compute the highs and lows based on the simple moving averages, but we're just going to use time intervals. So okay, let me run this import again. So I'm just going to compute daily highs and lows. So now this is the daily data on the D1, and instead of zigzag, we're just going to compute the minimum maximum of each day and overlay that on, for example, hourly data. So we're going to trade the hourly chart, where we're taking the daily minimum maximums as a reference for the minimums and maximum. So now I'm fetching the daily data to get the maximum minimum, and I'm going to overlay the data on the H1 chart. So if you give me 5 minutes, I will just start coding, and hopefully you will understand what I mean. So here we have the open, high, low, close on the daily time frame on SP 500. So here all we have to do is I'm just going to modify this OHLC data frame a bit. I'm just going to call it D1, so we know it's the daily data frame, and I'm going to create what is it, a new column, and I'm going to call it daily high, which is equal to OHLC D1, and we just take the high of the candle and we just shift it by 1. So what we're doing actually is we just compute the previous No, we don't need the previous, so we just compute the daily high, so we can just merge it later. Conti is asking, hello, do you have any backtesting tutorial for new Algo trader? Let me think about it. Like, I've performed some videos in the past. I don't have like a very short tutorial, but what I have here is in my GitHub repository, I have a sample backtest. So for now, let me have a look at my YouTube studio if I have, you know, some backtesting videos, so you can have a look at them. Yeah, I think, you know, the best thing I have for right now is when I publish the package on PyPy. So this is a 1 hour video, so just feel free to skip around, but here's the link, and here I'm sharing my backtesting package and how to use it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly like scroll through to find the exact timestamp. So this is one of my past live streams, and here I'm showing everyone, you know, how to run historical backtests with my PyPy library. So this is my ATJ Traders Algo trading library that I've created recently, and oh, here we're doing some backtests with SMA crossovers. So if I share this timestamp, actually, I'm gonna share this timestamp with you. So start at 36:59. There is an example how you can perform backtests, and feel free to check it out if you want to learn more about backtesting. I'm also, you know, working on some training course on backtesting and algorithmic trading. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be ready. But, you know, for now, just feel free to check out my past live streams, and hopefully that, you know, is helpful for the time being. Okay, so back to daily high. So here we just, all we have to do is just rename the data frame. So instead, let me just do this. Here we add rename, and then here after rename, we provide columns is equal to so here in columns, we rename high to daily high, and then we rename low to daily low. And then also I would want to compute the date column. This is like a datetime column, but we want to convert it to date. So the date is basically our time, and we convert that using .dt.date. And basically this is all we need for this. And now here I see that there is a key error, there's no high. So we can create a figure using the daily time frames now. But I just want to compute this data frame. And now we can actually just, you know, check where the daily high and low is. So, and can you remove the gaps between the data? It did much better, I think. These are null data. Yeah, so it's just a visualization issue. So in the actual data frame, there are no gaps, but how the library works, and this is like outside my control, I can't remove the gaps because the x-axis is basically on a time, like, you know, it's a time axis, and it's not optimized, you know, to work similar way on the chart. Another way to do it is I could, for example, convert this time data to pure strings, or just, you know, visualize the index. But it doesn't affect the algorithm or anything, all right? So it's just a visualization thingy, so don't worry about that. Okay, so now I've computed daily highs and lows, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to retrieve OHSC data on the hourly chart. So here I'm going to H1. And I'm getting the H1 data here. So let's see if we can, so now we have H1 data here. So again, I'm going to compute some columns. So here date is equal to OHLC H1, and Alright, and now realize I didn't actually even need to use the daily data, because what I'm going to show you now is I wanted to take the data, compute daily high and low, and then add it into our H1 data frame, but I can just use the H data frame from the beginning. Content reply, thank you a lot. In the past, I tried some backtesting with the backtesting Py library, and then I took a break from everything. Now I'm getting back to Python backtesting. Ah, great. So good luck with that. So currently, my PyPy package is, currently like still in, development. So I just released the, the first version, but I'm planning, to improve, and with the help, as is open source, try to, improve it over time, basically. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm streaming regularly, during, at this time, and I also have a Discord channel, so you can just, join my Discord to discuss, any, requests or, questions. So OHLC H1 date is OHLC H1 time .dt.date. So now we just compute the date column. And here I'm just going to compute the daily maximum. So I'm going to create daily minimum maximum is equal to, so I'm getting the OHLC data frame. First I'm going to sort the data, sort values. So I'm going to sort values based on time. Not time. What was it again? I need to create two data frames actually, because I need to compute the highs and lows for each day in chronological order. Yeah, I'm going to group it daily. Yes, I'm going to use a group by. Let's just use a group by first, because I also wanted, to keep the time. So in the when I'm going to visualize the data on the chart, I will use the time columns. But first, let's just use the group by, and then add the later. So date, and you can use the aggregate function here. And so now we just need to take the high. Or instead, I can also specify the never column. So daily high is equal to the high and here the maximum, and then the daily low is equal to the low and the minimum. So now if we look at this data frame that we just created, we have the maximum min values for each day, so that we could theoretically use for our zigzag indicator, or not zigzag indicator, but yeah, zigzag sort of looking indicator. Yes, so I'm choosing the highest and lowest value of the whole day with our candles. Exactly, that's what I'm doing. So for each day I have the maximum minimum, and that thing we can use, for our analysis, where we can just, look at, high and lows patterns. So if you have, for example, over the course of multiple days, we, for example, something like that. So if we, for example, try, in price action there are like many theories, and we have to test them, of course. I'm using the high and low values, so not the close values of that day. So in price action we want the higher high and then the higher low pattern, and then we have like the start of the leg, right? So we want the start, and once we define the low, we want to enter a trade. So this is something we're trying to look for. So now that we have the daily high and daily low, we can try to use these values to find the exact sequence. And now the only problem is that we don't know if the high or the low came first. So on the hourly time frame, this might look still interesting in the sense that how do we draw the zigzag again? So maybe Martin, what you propose, like it still counts with some issues that we have to do. So I can't check the time yet because the daily high and low times are separate from each other. So I can't add a column. What I have to do is in the group by I have to split the two data frames and compute the high and lows separately, right? Because if I just add time here, how would I know? So what I'm trying to say is, or I can just show you, just adding the time here in the group by doesn't work. Because now we are computing like the max and minimum. So instead, what I'm thinking is we should create like OHLC max values. And I'm going to disregard that. Let me just quickly change the diaphragm a bit. So our max values is basically our OHLC H1, and here I'm going to sort the values. And by sorting the values here, I will sort it by date, and then I will sort it by the high value, right? So here for high, I want to keep the maximum values. So ascending is equal to this is ascending, this is true, and this is false. So I want to go from the lowest to highest, and then here I want to go from the highest to lowest. And I'm going to show you what this looks like in this case. So see that? So we sort by date, and then for each date, we have the highest and lowest values. And so if you look at here, here's the highest value here. So now what I can do instead is I can I'm just thinking of a variable. I'm just going to call it max values 2, and I'm going to think later what I'm going to change it to. So here I'm going to do group by. I can group it by the date, and then I can just keep the first line that is available. So as a result, I get all the values that I need, and of course for this I just need the time, I will need the date, and then I will need the high. So for each date I have the exact time and the high, and I can apply the same logic for the lows. Yes, exactly, 2 per separate set is what we're working with. So here I'm just going to check the min values, and then I'm going to sort by low, and now we're just going to set the ascending here to true and true, and now we add the low here. So now if we group by date and keep the first value again, we have two things that we can now display. So we have max values and min values, so let me display both. And then we can, join this data together, and then we can see what, how we can overlay that then on the H1 chart later. Okay, so for each day we have the high and the time. So let's actually join these values together. And here I think I made a mistake somewhere because I have the same high and high here. And that is because here I actually group by, the wrong data frame. So here we have the exact times for the highs and lows of each day. So now what we can do is well, of course we could have used daily charts again, but let's continue with this idea. Right now we're exploring anyway, so no matter which method you use, I bet there like better methods to do this, but because we're just coding and I don't think what should be the best, we just want to finish it. So let's join this data frame. So instead of having high and low, I want to concatenate these two data frames. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take this data frame that I used, and here I'm just going to create like a type column, and here the type of this column is the high, and then for the min values I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to call it the low, and then I'm going to rename this high value, and I'm just call it value. So here I'm going to rename the columns is equal to, and high is value. And then I'm going to use the same down here. And here the low is also value. Oh, did I? Yes, I did. Thank you for fixing. So now the last step we want to do is we want to create a min max data frame, which is, oh, and now this comes handy. We are concatenating, so using pd.concat, we are adding these two data frames, and then all we have to do is we just need to sort the values based on time. Okay, and let's look at the result now. Okay, so how about we try to now visualize what we've made here. So we display the min-max data frame, and now we create a figure, so, or just create like a px.line. We take the min-max df, x is equal to time, and y is equal to value. Okay. So now basically what we've done is just create a data frame with the min and max values. What we see is that it might not look that pretty, but this is something like that we can start working with. Just give us a quick second. I have to check something real quick off screen. Won't take too long. Okay, so thanks for your patience, guys. I just have to check something real quick, and yeah, let's continue with the work here. Alright, the question is, okay, now we have to set a window to choose how many candles we want to analyze in each process, right? Yeah, that's true. So now just taking a short break to see how we can do that. Let's just quickly overlay this data again on the initial data frame on OHLC D1, and so what I'm going to do is figure is equal to create a price fig, where I add OHLC D1 as a figure, and then I'm just going to copy the code from the previous one, and I'm going to overlay the things here to see, just to have a understanding how it looks at the moment. And now I'm going to use the min-max data frame that I've created, and I'm gonna add the values. And yeah, so the issue here is OHLC. Oh, I used the wrong data frame. It's not D1, it's the H1 data frame, and like this is what we have right now. So let me just zoom in. So the issue here now is actually how we alternate between the values, right? Because like this is the lowest value of the day, but when you reach a low here, you want actually to connect lows and highs, like alternating a pattern. So we want to take the high and then the next low and then the next high. So theoretically what we could do is we could, for example, remove this and this. We can connect this entire thing and consider it as like a whole impulse. And then like again, yeah, we connect, you know, always the lowest value if there are like two in a row. I think that could work quite nicely. So do you guys understand what I mean? So for example, because the highs and lows, you know, are not always alternating, because sometimes they can like you know, be in a like two lows in a row. So again here, so this is for instance the high of the day, and this is the high of the next day, and they are like in a row. So I'm just going to take the maximum value between those two, and based on that we are going to, you know, use the high and low. And of course, as a result, the last value is never like static, so we never know that you know, the last value is this one or another one. So therefore the problem is that, or it's not a problem, but we can like predict the market, right? We don't know what it look like, but we can, for example, use like the closed one. So once a low is confirmed, once a new high has been established, and that is something that we could use, you know, for a backtesting analysis. So here we are high, low, high, and this high is not valid until this new low is established. That's what I'm trying to say. So for this high to be valid, we actually need to break this level here. Yeah, and as a result, this high would be valid. But other than that, I think I'm very happy, like with this new layout. So again, we have two highs here, right? High and high. So this one would be removed, and then we would, you know, directly connect this low with this high here. Okay, so I think I have a good idea how to do it now. So let's just start coding again. And I think I can use a similar method that I used like previously, you know, where I was checking the previous type, and here in this previous type I can check if there are like two in a row. Pietro, as this is not a good symbol because has a lot of gaps. Well, that is true, but of course right now we're just working on the method, so I don't really care which symbol we're testing on. So once we have, you know, a nice price action analysis, it comes down to backtest. So I don't think it's a good idea to just say it's a bad symbol because there's gaps. Once we have the method to analyze highs and lows and then create price action patterns with these highs and lows, we run the backtest on multiple markets, assets, and so on, and then we see what works or doesn't work. So for now, the main priority of this live stream is actually cleaning up, you know, all these, you know, lines, the zigzags, and having like a reliable pattern recognition. So we add the data. Let's just create a new cell. Here we are working with the minimum and maximum data frame. I'm just going to create a copy again so I don't, you know, overwrite the previous data. And let's try to solve this issue here. Okay, serial low, and then we have another low here. And what I said is that I want to keep between those two values the minimum value. And as a result, I would have to like overwrite the values and then keep the highest one. Well, now I need to think again, what is the best way to actually do that? So I could also save like the previous value and then compare those. It would almost be like an iterating process, but yeah, let me try, because you know there should be a case where there are like 3 lows in a row, because it will always precede, there will always be another high. So as a result, all I need is to check the previous value. So we have a previous type, and then here we also need to compute a previous value. And here I need to save the value. Okay. So now I have a previous value, and then I have a value here. So if it's a low, I want to keep the minimum value, and if it's a maximum, I want to keep the maximum value. And that's what I'm gonna do. So basically I will create a function, define choose min max value. I'm going to create 2 conditions. So if x same type in a row is equal to 1, and x type, so the current type, is equal to low, we return the minimum between x value and then the x previous value. So this is how we could do it. And we can create a same condition for the inverse. So here the same type in a row we applied for the high, and I would just choose the maximum value. And so now I will just overwrite value is equal to min max df2 dot apply. I'm applying this function, and then I need to specify axis is set to 1. And then lastly, I just need to filter out where the same type in a row okay. Now problem is I want to actually keep the same type in a row because I've overwritten the value. Oh, now I have NaN values here, else return. Yeah, looks very inefficient. But let's just get away. It's actually not that bad because we're working like with hourly candles or daily candles. So now we want to keep this value, but we want to remove this one because we've overwritten like between this and this. So I'm thinking again. So here we have the high and high. Let's just check the value. So if the previous was 51 and 59, so of course we want to keep the 59 value. Or what I can actually do is I can create a new column, new value for now. So our new value is equal to that one. All right, guys, I take a quick toilet break, so I'll be right back, and yeah, we can continue in a few minutes. So 1 second. All right, everyone. So thanks for your patience, and yeah, let's continue. Okay, so instead of overriding the values, I just create a column with the new values. So basically, if the values change, we need to take the first one. But if the value doesn't change, then we don't. So I think I can create a different logic actually. Like it still works the same, but rewrite it. So if because essentially I don't need to create values, I just need to, you know, choose which row I should disregard. So if, for example, I set keep or take previous, then I can disregard it. So I think what I can do actually is I can check two conditions. For x type is equal to x next value. So this is potentially a way that we can mark like two same values in a row. Or next, it's not next value, it's next type. So now if we check next type, so this and this have the same row. So now that I know that we have to set a row, we can just check which value to discard. So I bet there's a better way to do this, but I'm just gonna do it this way. Or yeah, overthinking that. So I guess I'm stuck again. And hi Martin. Glad to have you here. Like one guy in the chat, he proposed we should look at daily highs and lows. So oh yeah. My wife, she is a graphic designer, or also an architect, but she also has lots of experience in graphic design. So she made these yesterday. So hopefully you like them. I wonder if you can also add emojis. That'll be interesting. Well, hello Ganesh, nice to have you on the stream. It's okay guys, work is important. What do you do by the way for work? Yeah, this is our ATJ emoji logo. Yeah, I mean, Martin, you haven't missed much anyways, because now I'm stuck again. Hello, Jack. Nice to have you here. Oh yeah, you've already joined. Sorry. Yeah, you were actually the first one in the chat today. So sorry about that. You're a community manager and programmer. Yeah, that's nice. Well, I would assume that you're good at programming, so that's great. The problem is that I'm more of a trader and a programmer. So when it comes to these things, I'm very stuck with these things. But yeah, Marty, I presented your idea yesterday, you know, the one you sent me, and it's actually, you know, really great. So instead today, I'm actually just doing a high and low analysis using daily highs and lows. And like what we have here right now is we're displaying or connecting the highs and lows on, you know, on the H1 chart. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So this is the low, this is the high, this is the low, this is the high. So this is theoretically, you know, like a ABCD pattern, you could say. And yeah, so now right now I'm just trying, you know, to clean up a bit. So what you can see, for example, here is like I'm trying to, you know, connect this and this line, because here we have two lows in a row. So theoretically we can remove this high and just connect this line like this. And then we have like another low here and then a high here, so we can remove this part here and then connect it directly. So the idea behind that is I just want to keep the minimum between these two values and then remove one line. So once that is done, our price action, you know, analysis should be done. And I think I'm getting there slowly. So for here example, we have two highs in a row. And I'm just telling myself there must be an easy way to do this, right? Like we just need to compare these two values and then remove one. Or like mark like disregard. Or for example, like just start with because these ones are sorted by time. Yeah, so the trick behind here is just, you know, we need to create like alternating lows and highs and ignore anything that's in the middle. So just alternate between lows and highs, and that is a very clean way to do it. So for example here, high, low, ignore this one, high, low, high, low. And we're actually just using, you know, the daily highs and lows in this case. And this one's like very interesting, right? Because we see that the high is made at the end of the day, and then we take the low of that day and then the high again. So this example is also very interesting. So you can high, low, and so on. Ano? Okay, okay. Okay. All right, sorry about disruption. Okay. So high, low, ignore high. So instead of like checking the previous value, I think actually we should check the next value. Let's I mean, it doesn't matter, but no. That might help. So next time. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it looks nice, but it still needs more work. So this is what we're working with. So the next type, oh, and I think where it's previous next doesn't matter. I'm just, you know, switching that. So I think I did not help myself at all here. But I think, yeah, the best way we can do now, yeah, sorry for confusion. Yeah, it seems to have less noise than the SMA method. Yeah, that's true. So we are doing like defined time intervals. So now the distance is more like equidistant, right? So it's like equal alternation. But the moving crossovers also have something something good. And also the question is, so for example, we have a high and we have a low here, and the problem is we never know that like this low is how would I say, if this low is the actual low. For example, next day low could be, for example, lower unless a new high is made. So I think there's a lot like to consider when you start backtesting, because there is potentially there are a lot of mistakes that we can make. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also save the previous time. I'm just going to create two functions to make it fast. So or I'm just going to return multiple values, and now we're taking minimum. I'm going to rewrite this function here. So if x.value is less than x of previous value, so we want the minimum from this, return or equal to, oh, no, if it's equal to, then we want the next value, probably. return x dot value and then x dot time. Else, so there are a lot of like conditions. Else return we return the previous value and the previous time. And then for the case we're computing the high, we just shift it, so we want the greater ones. If value is greater than x value, then yeah, return current value, otherwise we return a previous value and the previous time. So here we should actually have a list or a tuple. So now we have the new values and the new time. So what this basically means is that we can just extract this now, or I will call this new data, which is easier. So the new value is our new data dot apply lambda x, and then we just take the first value that we need, and the new time is the other value. Yeah, I know it's like a bit complicated, but you know, sometimes working data frames can be this complex, and you know, in my mind I should have just used some iteration. Non-type original subscriptable. Yeah, so if x doesn't exist, because I return none in some cases. So this is the new value. And this is the new time that we should have. So I will plug these values, because these are correct ones, into the previous. So I can just shift it by -1 and then ignore 1. Okay, so yeah, that's very complicated, but I think we managed. So we shift it by -1, we shift it back, then we overwrite the data with the new data we've created, and then we remove this one here, and then we should have the correct solution. So very confusing, but hopefully I haven't studied algorithms. I think that's the only problem or regrets, you know, that I have, is I didn't go to, you know, coding school, IT school, whatever. I had to learn by myself. So when it comes like to these like low-level algorithms, how to, you know, optimize and switching data, I am very bad at it, like so bad at it. Oh, never mind. Now let's just finish it, what we started. And so now value. Yeah. Well, you know, where I've been working, you know, I was working for like a corporate company, you know, one of the largest trading firms here in the Czech Republic, a proprietary trading firm actually. You know, the IT guys, they were like so good, right? Of course, they know how to trade, so maybe that's my selling point, because I was very like hooked into trading. That's why I was in risk management. But when it comes to raw IT skills, I still feel like I'm pretty far behind, you know, when it comes to basic efficient coding. But as you know, if you combine, you know, how would I say, maybe I have a good ability into, you know, representing my ideas in code. I think that's what I'm good at, but when it comes to like writing certain code, I think I still, you know, need to improve on that. So the only thing that drives me in coding is actually getting the result I need, because I actually need it, right? I want to trade, I want to use the data, I want to analyze it, I'm very interested in the markets, and I think that's what coding should be about, right? Like, you can like just learn coding and code for someone else, or you can, you know, learn to code and help yourself. And I think when you want to help yourself, it's always more motivating to do that. So even though I'm struggling right now, I'm still, you know, glad that I'm struggling, because I'm still learning. And yeah, that's the most important thing. So define override values. And now theoretically I don't even need to shift it here, because I can just take the new data and just return the data here in override values. So basically, if x new data, so if there's any value here, return x new data, and because it's a tuple, I know that values are saved in the first index, and then else return just the normal one that we have, x dot value, and then I can create a second function, override time. And time is saved in this one, else we return extra time. And now time to override the values. So time is equal to this, apply override time, axis is equal to 1, and now we take the value and then we override just singular. Let's use a singular here, and now this should be my result data frame. Columns must be same length as key. Oh. So just shifting the values by 1. And then I can filter out the other value. So min-max df df2 is equal to this, where the same type in a row is equal to 1. 0. Okay, so now I have all the values I need, and hopefully, if I run this again, I've overwritten the values, and hopefully I should have alternating highs and lows. So this is the moment of truth. Oh, and I need to change this to number 2. Almost got a heart attack, but who knows, maybe it's still wrong. And it is wrong. Would you look at that? And the question is, what have I done wrong? It's so funny. Maybe sort it. Sorting might help. but I doubt that'll work. Not sovereign instant vote and timestamp. So I've definitely screwed up something. Yeah, the overriding is actually causing some issues. So let's have a look at the data frame when we are right here, and see how we can solve this. So this is the data frame. Oh, and we see that in time we have some random integer here, and value is saved in 0, which is an override value. And we can see that new data actually contains some values of time. So somewhere we wrote the wrong logic. So value, previous value, time, previous time, return value, time, previous value, previous time. Yeah, so new data has a problem with, how I save the new data. Let me comment it out, and let's see how we can solve that. Okay, here it's correct, and here it is wrong. And I wonder why it is wrong. Type, value, and we found the problem. We should save the time, of course, and that's very unfortunate. Okay, so now let's try to go back. And let's pray that now, looks much better. So with alternating zigzags, up, down, up. Here we don't have alternating zigzags. So now we have to check again why that is. I wonder if I even need sorting here. Up, down, 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 up, down. Seems like down, up, 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 mini down. Yeah, that's still down. So I guess, guys, we have up, down, which is the current minimum of the day, up, down, yeah, seems good. That took us some time. So if you look at this, like this, this code block here is not so nice, but I guess you could treat this as it's fine. I mean, it's not that bad, right? It's how much? 4 lines of code, so it's actually not that bad. Just a thought process, it's kind of complicated, but I think we made it. Yeah, it's very nice. So finally, guys, I think we've done it. Now just thinking, if there are any ways to optimize this up and downs, because now I would like to try some backtesting, or some pattern recognition. Because I feel like we can apply this method almost on any time frame, right? I could round by hour, 15 minutes, daily. So right now we're using daily. So for example, one could consider this almost like a double top, right? So we have a low, a high. Compared to the previous low, it's a higher low. Then we could, for example, measure same high, right? If we round or check if highs are same heights, we could say something like, oh, similar high or same high with some sort of tolerance. We can add some like percentage price tolerance or a flat number tolerance. For example, if the difference between highs is less than 10 points, we for example have the same high. So we could do something like head and shoulder patterns. We could also measure the length of the legs, right? Like, is this Fibonacci, for example? Like, you take that part, is this 61.8 retracement compared to this initial move? That's also a question. So I think, yeah, we're on to something now, and I'm very happy with the results now. So this is great. Another question is, I feel like let me show an example of a setup and like what I'm concerned about, and then we can like discuss how we can solve the problem, because the solution is always more problems essentially. So basically we have an impulse down and then we have an impulse up. When is this high considered a high, right? Is this considered a new high when a new low is made? In other words, does this low need to be broken? Because for example, if the next day we have a higher high, if you know what I mean, it means that this higher high will invalidate this high. So maybe part of our analysis, oh yes, exactly, it's zigzag, but it's zigzag our way. The zigzag uses a different formula, I just use highs and lows, daily highs and lows. So maybe what we can do is, like, we can't predict where the retracement will be, but we can try to compute, okay, we have a pattern, we have an impulse leg, we have a retracement, and then we have another impulse leg, right? So on average, when you have an impulse leg, on average, what is the expected retracement? Is it the Fibonacci ratio? Is it 30%, 50%? Is it 70%? Under which conditions do we have the retracement? Yeah. And what is the chance of continuation of the trend? So for example, could we at the break of this low enter a short position and set a stop loss somewhere higher? Oh, that's so nice. You guys are stuck in work but still decide to watch me, so yeah, I'm very happy to hear that. Of course you should focus on work, right? Or yeah, start trading and hopefully one day we'll all be free. Of course that's a very difficult job, but getting there will be very satisfying. So here we have a high, low, high, low. So this is a similar high, I would say. Also another price touches that level, sort of. I think, yeah, we can definitely work with that. Impulse, retracement, impulse, retracement, impulse, retracement. And then like if we connect these highs, if you look at that, right, we can like try to connect these highs and create channels also, theoretically. So if you have like equidistant like impulses, we could also look for certain channels. So this is a low. Or for example, we have a break of low and a break of high. Actually, let me just open my Epic Pen, because right now I'm just analyzing what we see with the current zigzag, and I'm trying to think, how this zigzag could be used to find trading opportunities. So we could, for example, try to look for if you look at if we create a trend line based on, or like array based on connecting points. So these are geometries. This is as you can see, this is a market divergence, right? So market is divergent because these 2 points, we connect them, they're diverging, and then we can measure, try to measure geometrically, what is the rate of divergence, and then is there a way to trade it, right? So first we have like a fake out to the downside, then we have a breakout to the upside. Should we, if we just measure this level, we can also measure the previous level like this. Should we go long? Should we go short? So all of that, I think, provide us, with great hypotheses that we can test and see, if there is something that we can trade. And I'm just again scrolling through to see something interesting. Because here, for example, again we can do some, do some tolerance, but here we connect this. We do have sort of channels, so now I missed the thing here, but here we have a channel, and then if we connect these highs, we sort of have a channel, with some peak above, and the question is, do we define this as another channel, or do we just treat it as a small breakout that failed and continue trading the channel? So all my price action, things that I've done in the past, are I feel can be backtested now. No, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to pan. How did I disable the box selector then again? Is there a reset or delete? No, delete doesn't work. Never mind. The box select just screwed up. Let me just refresh it again. So let's have a look at some recent price action. And this is still some legs are short and longer. What I can try doing also is let me just create a line chart where we don't take line into account, the time into account. So we use px line, we take the min max df, x is equal to time, and y is equal, not time, that's is the index, and y is equal to the value. So here we can see a chart, that why is time here in the index? Oh yeah, because here the date is index. Let me just reset the index. Reset index dot index, and now we just have the index. Because when we draw these trend lines are based on time. But here we can draw trend lines that are independent of time. So I wonder if that gives us something that it might be interesting for us. So here, for example, I would just maybe draw horizontal lines or whatever. So what patterns can we create? Because what we can see here, for example, if we zoom in, so here, for example, we do have a strong impulse to the upside, right? And then we retrace down here,
where then we create a new high, right? Because here, this is a breakout. Right here we have a breakout, and then it seems that price retraces back to the initial level and then goes up again. So we can do like a impulse, retrace, break of the initial high, and then look for like retracement opportunities where price comes back to this level, and then look for long opportunities. So theoretically we could, you know, just enter long at this place, right? We could try to long like buy here, set a stop loss below the recent low here, and then have like a, you know, try 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 reward to risk, I don't know. And all of that can be done in Python and backtest it and see if that could work. So I think the setup that we're looking for is for a strategy that we want to backtest, right? So for a strategy that we want to backtest is we need to work with the low of a previous day and the high of the previous day. So then we want to make sure that for the current day, we want the low to be contained inside the range within, you know, some interval, and we want a breakout. For example, here we want a breakout of this high. So whenever we have a breakout of this high, which actually at this point we have a breakout, we could use this current low as our stop loss, and we will follow that trend up here with, for example, 1-to-1 RRR. So I'm thinking like a manual trader now. So I'm actually thinking like a manual trader now and trying to, you know, think about how my trading bot would trade the same way. So again, we have again an impulse here, a retracement. We have break of a recent high again, of a daily high, enter long position and try to, you know, follow that trend. So it is very, very similar to our trading bot on the German stock index, right? Our DAX trading bot is basically taking the previous high and lows and trading the breakout. But what it's not doing is it's not setting stop loss, it's not setting highs, it's not taking market structure into account. So now I'm trying to create a trading bot that is able to set stop loss, take profit based on market structure. And because we now have the, you know, zigzag and highs and lows that we've now defined, we do have the market structure. And the only problem I have right now is that we are combining highs and lows on the entire data set, and the problem is we don't know if like this low is low until, for example, something happens in the future. So when I start backtesting, I need to take into account that this level at this point in time is not confirmed yet. So I think confirmation of these levels will play a crucial role in deciding this, you know, how the strategy will perform. Okay, so now that I have this zigzag ready, I will now commit that and we'll take a short break. And after a short break, we'll try to write a trading bot that is using this market structure and is, you know, performing some price action trades. And so commit anyway and push. And so as I've mentioned previously, we will have two types of strategies. So first one, we are going to do the impulse, retracement, impulse. Then we can do a breakout trade on the break of high or a retracement, right? We can enter on a retracement and check if we have some edge there. And entering in a retracement is like very difficult because we don't know like if it's gonna retrace here, or if it's gonna retrace here, or if it's gonna retrace here, or if it will just go against us and like nothing will happen. And then other patterns would be like the flag pattern, right? Then channels and so on. So yeah, so thank you for coming, guys. I think I'll be back in about 15 minutes. So I'll make some coffee, come back with, you know, fresh head, and let's start backtesting. So thank you, and be right back. Okay, I'm now back and got my coffee. So thanks for waiting. And actually, I still have my coffee right here. So maybe let's still have a short break before we get back into coding. So yeah, it's Friday, weekend again. In Prague, there's something called a Signal Fest. It's a really nice event, so maybe I can show you guys what I'm up to, this weekend. It's Signal Fest, and it's like a very nice, what do you call it? Exhibition, or an art gallery across the entire town. So yeah, it's like mainly light oriented, light focused. As you can see, they make like these very nice projections on buildings, and they also do some other things besides that, right? So some other exhibitions. So yeah, so that's my plan for a weekend. And before that, we still have to finish our strategy. And Keynes Kibaya asks, would moving averages work in capturing retrace early on? Potentially yes. So for example, if you have like a crossover, you're in a retracement phase, maybe the crossover could go long. That's something you could do, but I've never tested that, so I don't know. And the 40 breakout bot is turned off. Yeah, so the current breakout bot is like still being tested, so it's still not trading live yet. And also this trading bot only has like, I don't know, like 20% exposure in the market. So there were times when the bot didn't open in trade like for a month or two. So I think for the 40 breakout bot, we still we might still wait a few weeks, or it came like next week, right? I don't know. So here, if you look at my VPS, right, it's running right here. Oh, this is the US 100 momentum trading bot, but here this is our M15 DE40 breakout bot. So it's currently being tested, and we'll see once it's out. Maybe I could test it like on a M1 chart just to make sure the logic is okay, and I could actually just connect in live. So yeah, I think maybe we can do that also. But yeah, the DE40 breakout bot definitely has a lot of potential, and yeah, I'm curious to see how it performs. But I feel like the DE40 breakout bot still needs some time, some improvements, because I definitely need something like security stop losses, maybe some filters, when the market is very volatile, so maybe not trade during certain periods. That is something I believe should still be like implemented, but it is regardless in the testing phase. In the meantime, I think yes, the US bot is the one that trades once a day. What it does is it's checking, the momentum candle during US market open, and then it trades in the same direction. So for example, if I open my chart here and open US Tech on Tickmill, for example, this is my recent trade. I hopefully can see that. So let me just explain how the bot trades. So what you have here is, this is the momentum candle, right? So it checks during the US market open if the momentum candle is in that direction. I believe there are also some filters, some ATR and volatility filters, to make sure that this momentum is actually valid. And after close this candle, we then enter a long position. And the stop loss is set, at the candle low, and the exit strategy is we just, hold until the end of the US trading session, which is until here. So we are very lucky that we exited at this high here. So yeah, as I said, it's very lucky. But yeah, this is a very nice trade that we've had in the US 100 recently. Then we have a few losses. Maybe I can show in the history. Maybe I can filter by symbol. So we just see US Tech trades. So here on US Tech, we have like a 71 euro profit. Then we had 2 losses. So this is probably this plus this break even. This is plus 33. This is just a testing trade, so this we don't have to count. So it's plus 50. plus 190 on the US tech, plus 180, plus 230. I think we're about $300 plus on the US tech. Yeah, so the US tech made us $300 US. Then I made, you know, some other trades on the USD JPY. I had some other strategies going on, and that's my mistake because what I did is I accidentally opened trades on the wrong account. Silly me, because I have multiple Tickmill accounts, so I don't want to regard that, because that has nothing to do with you know, the algorithm trading that we're doing like on the live stream. So in total the account is 41 euro in profit, but just looking at the US tech, we're actually about $300 US in profit. I think there's just a dashboard where we actually see the exact, you know, performance by the strategy. So what I'm going to do, maybe next week we can schedule maybe like again some data analysis, or maybe some, you know, account analysis where we you know, analyze all the symbols by by its performance. But I think what we can do is we already have an app like that. So if I export the entire history, so I'm going to go to report and export the entire history. So I'm going to do that. Oh, I wanted to export that into the downloads folder. So report HTML, I'm going to put it into my downloads folder. And if we go back to Trading Labs, as you know, we have our account analysis application, which is right here. So if we just, you know, add that account evaluator here, what this app shows us is then, you know, an in-depth analysis of our trading. And so we've had some good trades on the NSD JPY, but a losing trade in USD and USD JPY. But this is our US tech trading bot. So in total, if the math is correct, it's 280 euro plus since we've deployed this application. So pretty good. Wednesdays not so good, Fridays are very good. Sellers are good, buyers are not so good. And yeah, so feel free to test out this app if you want to. So again, I'm going to share it with you guys if you want to test it out. If you have any MT5 account, you will find the you know, the stuff there. And then remember, we made the Monte Carlo simulator. Yeah, right now I think we don't need it, but it might be useful in the future when we have some profit strategies. I want to evaluate that, and then some spreads. You know, still working on it. So yeah. Yeah, now the coffee is drinkable. Always take some time to cool down a bit. Okay. So now let's think about it. When we look at price action patterns, I think what we could do is we could save, like take this data frame here that we have, the min-max data frame, and we just check if it's, you know, what type it is, if it's a high low, what value, what time it has. And then, for example, we always take the last 4 or 5, you know, highs and lows, and then we evaluate if it's, for example, channel, or if it's a rectangle, if it's a head and shoulders, if it's like an impulse, like higher low, lower low, and so on. So I think what we need to do is we just need to, you know, save the, you know, the sequence of the past, you know, highs and lows, and then see, you know, how we can work with that at every point in time. So we iterate using our OHS data frame, and I think the best way to actually now work with it is do more like an iterating algorithm, right? So now we use pandas, right, and data frames to apply the logic, you know, on the entire data set. But now what we're going to do is we're going to compute that by iterating through every candle and see how that works. And that will require a completely different coding. So we'll start probably coding afresh, but at least we know, at least the method how we want to compute that. So the resulting output should look something like this. So we're going to use df.iteRows to find the highs and lows. Ah, that's a nice rhyme. Yeah, while I drink my coffee, I was actually thinking about the members only chat. So again, thank you Juan and Martin, and also there's Vinicius, who comes to stream very often, who support the channel by becoming members. So I've decided that next week I'm going to do like a member only session. So if you want to join, we can, just be 4 of us, a member only live stream, and yeah, just dedicate my time to you because I think you guys deserve it, and I want to make sure that what you're donating is your money's worth, and this is also like a thank you from my side. So during the next screen schedule, which I think on Monday I'll stream again, but I still want to finish the training bot, so I think this will still be public. So here I will do like a member only. And it will be on Tuesday, I guess. It's the 15th October. And we can just decide what we want to do. And if no one will come, which is also possible, I just think of some topic that you can watch later. And then yeah, depending how confidential the information is, or how sensitive work we do, if I want to release the recording later, we'll see about that. But yeah, I'll schedule member only, do whatever. If you have any strategies, we can try to code some trading bots, as per your request. We can do that too. So at least yeah, we have that scheduled. And then I think on the 14th October we still continue with the same topic. So next Monday. So this is on Monday, and this would be on Tuesday. And then I'll just leave the topics for later. Ooh. Yeah, so US market opens coming very soon. Maybe our trading bot will open the trade in 30 minutes. It's also very likely. Because now I see a very strong momentum candle. You guys see that, right? We have very strong momentum today. Very interesting. So if, for example, this momentum candle breaks above, this level, closes above this high, I feel like we have a very nice potential trade to the upside. So that will be very interesting. And the range looks also, somewhat, promising. So here, we have this high here. Now we have this low here. I think the market structure looks very interesting here. Oh, and if you also look here, we also have like a double top here. So currently, yeah, very interesting setup. So yeah, this is also what working with the trading bot. So you know, the market structure that we see here, I like that to be, you know, represented by the trading bot, and hopefully we'll get there eventually. Because right now I'm just using daily highs and lows, so I'm not using hourly yet. So using hourly highs and lows, we still have to, you know, measure that. But I think the same method we apply on daily, we can also use on the hourly later. So for example, here's the low, here's the high, maybe somewhere here, then low, high, low, and then now high again. But let's start with the daily, and then eventually, you know, we can move to the like intraday time frames and see if that also shows some promising results. I hope they do. So what is this M15 candle doing? See that? It's like very strong rejection here, and now it's 17:30 platform time here. Let's see what trading bot is doing. Maybe we'll find a long opportunity on the US tech. Okay, so this is our US 100 momentum trading bot. And it's just running. Okay, so this would be the yesterday's high, and this would be the yesterday's low. So potential, this is the today's low. We see that the lows are about the same level, sort of, within some tolerance. And here we have the bodies, the candle bodies. And this is also like question, do you use candle bodies, do you use candle wicks? I think still a lot of work has to go into it. Because for some reason, like drawing market structure on price chart is so easy, like anyone could do that, right? The question is, again, do you draw it here, or do you take this wick into account? Or do you like take the density of multiple wicks? It's like so complicated to represent in code, and so easy to draw it because it's also subjective. But yeah, this is our job today to figure it out. Because getting to this from this will still take some time, I believe. Okay, so it was a good coffee break, and let's proceed with the programming. So now, for example, if we take the most recent one, and I think, yeah, this is a setup from today, right? So this is the current setup. Today's the 11th. So here we have a low, we have a high, we have a low, we have a high, we have a low, right? We see the retracement at this level, and like I have a very long bias. Like my bias on the US tech is now to buy it, And wait, this is the S&P 500. I'll be running on the US Tech. So my bias on the US Tech is still long. So let's zoom in a bit and see how the US Tech, is performing. So we have impulse to the up, then retracement, then up, then a retracement. Then we see, that the high and low are potentially on the same level here. Then we have like similar highs, like this and this. They're slightly off. But if we, for example, apply some tolerance on this, it would be like same high. We could potentially create something like a rectangle pattern. And if you, for example, just apply not the highs and lows but the close prices, maybe we could also get a more like precise image, right? But this, for example, right now looks potentially like a very good rectangle pattern. And like drawing the rectangle, like this low is not considered as a low, right? So again, the script also uses different logic from what I see on the pattern. And I have like a bad habit of like seeing too many patterns, right? When I look at the chart, I see too much. And I think the less you see, at least in code, the easier it is to backtest. So that's why I like prefer starting with something like, what could we do? We could draw like trend lines. We take this low, and then we draw a trend line here. And then the breakout of this low could potentially like create like a short opportunity. Or if we have a breakout of this high, because now we have two highs established that are around the same level. So if the price breaks above these two highs, then potentially we could look for a breakout trade. Yeah, all of that is like possible. And I have to like discuss, do we like enter at high volatility, low volatility? Here we don't have like any patterns like that much. We just see boom, boom, boom. That's an uptrend. So maybe you should be looking for long opportunities. People say trend is your friend. So let's just start. So now what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to like delete this and I'm going to run analysis of, the high-low DF. So I'm just going to create a new data frame. HL, which stands for high-low DF, is equal to min-max DF dot copy, right? So we're like starting a fresh new analysis. So this is just an analysis of our highs and lows. And I said actually that we want to, iterate through these highs and lows. Because this is currently the last low day, so we can't take the last low value into consideration. We can take the like previous high and the previous low. So this one is basically not valid yet. So I think what we need to do is we always need to like skip the current high and low value and just take the preceding values in consideration. So this one, this one, this one, this one. And how do we do that? Like I can shift every value by 1, 2, 3, 4. I could do that theoretically. Or because pandas used to allow rolling and then saving into a list, but now it's no longer possible. Since pandas want memory objects are iterable for lists. Oh, so I need to pandas series to a rolling value method, whatever. Let's try that. So recent high and lows are equal to HLDF. type dot rolling, and let's take the previous maybe like 4 values and apply panda series, like pd.series. Oh, and now, like, I'm not interested in the other previous types and values because now I have all the data that I need. So the only thing that I'll use is time, value, type, and I'm not interested in anything else. So it seems that this always returns nothing, and that is unfortunate. Because actually what I wanted to do, and maybe guys, those of you who work with pandas, maybe you can help me out with that. Because I don't know what version of pandas used to allow this, but for example, you can apply the list function on that, and then no numeric types to aggregate. So that's a problem, because I can apply sum, I can apply all type of things, but maybe I can try lambda x, and then again, no numeric values to aggregate. Again, if I do list x, doesn't work. So actually, just the list and the other things are fine. So let me try to put in Stack Overflow again. Maybe I'll find something to help me with that. So rolling apply can only produce single numeric values. There's no support multiple returns or even non-numeric returns. And the answer to this question will be a workaround. Okay, so it's not possible. But rolling objects are iterable. So what he's saying is that I can apply a function and then I return Okay, so we will probably have to work with some workaround using the rolling method, but I think that's fine. So we can maybe like save a list, save a string, and then convert that string into a list. So it's not elegant, but it at least works. So what I'm going to do is maybe I can return a string, right? I can return a string with join x. Doesn't work either. So we call series with rolling. Okay. So I think because we're going to write trading bot that is anyways going to take a new candle as an input regardless. Let's try to like imitate that trading bot by feeding the OHLC data. So we're going to use some loops. So let's create a new file, and I think I'm going to create let's just create a new Jupyter file, or we can actually create a Python file. I'm gonna call it price action backtest simulation. And let's trade the US tech again. So here I'm going to just import some initial things. Import meta trader 5 as empty5 from datetime, import datetime and time delta. Okay, if name is equal to main, we do this, and then we insert the OHLC data. From ATJ Algo trading, import dot backtester, import get OHLC history, and here we print OHLC. So this is our data frame. And I think we don't need, to get an entire year worth of data. Let's just, run a simple backtest just for 1 year. So here we have our data frame, and then here for I and D, which is our data in OHLC dot iter rows, we print I and D. So here we just do print starting backtest. Nice. From time, import sleep, and let's just do it like in 1 hour intervals. So here we always have the open, high, low, close data. And yeah. So now our chart is always updating, chart by chart. So we need to create a zigzag that updates on every interval update. And I think maybe it would be easier to actually, write it, using something similar to the backtest simulator that we made. So we are actually going to create a Dash application. So we need to create an app. So here from Dash, import Dash, HTML, DCC, input, output, state. So for those of you who are asking, what I'm doing right now is I'm going to create like a backtest visualization application that looks similar to this app. So let me just run it for you. And so if I click on this, right, so it will like update the OHS data real time, and I will try to draw the highs and lows on this, price action analysis tool. And then as a result, we will be looking for like historical trading opportunities using this backtester. So for now, it's more like just, to, have a feel for, doing these price action backtests and see, how the highs and lows are being drawn on the chart. So they're more like aligned with, how I see the chart myself, or as I would trade price action myself. And then once we have that, we can run like real back tests, because what I'm still concerned about is, how we actually treat the highs and lows and how they're computed in real time for when we write a trading bot. Okay, so basically we have everything we need here. So the OHSC data set is ready. So here our app is equal to dash name. And then we'll do next. App.layout is equal to html.div we do price action backtester. Here for this I can create a function, and here I can create a function define get historical data, historical price data or prices, and here I can do it by symbol, and I can add this thing here. And then I return the OHLC that I've gotten here. Ah, great. So here I can just run the app.run, and let's see how it works. And it seems like we have an error here. Backtest children not found. Missing callbacks. Maybe one of my apps is still open, so the problem is actually not with the app itself, but I have still this one which is firing the old callback. So maybe just to avoid that problem, I will just specify a different port. So port is equal to, for example, 8000 and 8888. So let's run this now. Temp was made on a socket in a way forbidden by its access permissions. So 8055 or 88 maybe is available. I don't really know what ports are available, but maybe this one should be fine, and it's fine. So this is our price action backtester, right? Our web application is done. So now I'm just going to provide external style sheets, and I'm also going to import dash bootstrap components as dbc. So external style sheets is equal to dbc.themes, and my favorite theme, as you all know, is darkly. So I use the dark layout for my web application. And this is it. Okay, next step. To run Backtester, I need to, iterate through all the OHLC candles. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to copy some of the logic that I have in my callback section here. So I need to create some interval and then provide a price figure every time I generate a new price. So in that case, what I will need is I will need to add dcc.interval with the ID is equal to interval. I think for something else. Yeah, I was thinking about some quick style, styling for the web app, and I'm going to also provide some margins, so it's not too stuck on the edges. So actually, I can close this. If you look at this, it's just stuck to the corner here. So I'm gonna move that a bit more to the center, and to move it a little bit more into the center. I'm just going to provide, the style parameter. And if you refresh this app now, it's more, center in the middle. Okay, now I need to visualize the OHLC chart. So what I'm going to do now is, let me just reformat this. I'm going to create a callback. So a callback is basically it returns some page content every time we get some input, and here I'm going to do some html.div, and here the ID of this div is our price chart. So now I'm gonna create a callback, so app.callback. The output of this is the price chart children, and the input of this is the interval. So define update OHLC chart, and then the input of this is n intervals. And I'm going to import. Actually, already have get OHLC history here. So here I just need to create or generate chart, and I'm just going to copy some settings from my previous apps. So here we have some initial number of candles and some intervals with interval step. So I think I need to get this. I think this is more enough. So yeah, it's not much of code actually. So the thing is, we're going to work with data that we already extract here. So instead of putting in a function, I'm going to already call the historical data in this section here. So I'm just going to, initialize MT5 and just, statically define my OHS data frame in the app here. And then here in update OHS chart. So what I'm going to do is here we have the end intervals. So here I will create like the create price fig. I will import the create price fig function, but theoretically I don't even need to import it because I can just create a figure myself. So so new OHLC data is equal to OHLC that we have here with the ranges. So what are ranges? So here we do range interval is equal to 100, or num candles. Number of candles will be 100. So we do from and intervals, or no, how was it again? Yeah, from and intervals until n intervals plus number of candles. So this is the range that we're defining, and now what we need to do is we need to create a price chart. So here I have the function create price fig. So our fig is equal to create price fig, and I need to provide the OHLC data as a subset here, and then I will return dcc.graph with the figure is equal to fig. So now if I run this app, I should have a price chart being generated. Nice. So now we see that our price figure is being updated every second. And now it's time, to apply some, price action analysis tool that we just developed. So we will just draw highs and lows, and then see if we have any breakouts, higher highs, low lows, to see that it updates in real time. So we can use that, when we code our trading bot. Okay, so I think here what I can also provide is the interval, and I think I can update it like every half a second or 500 milliseconds. If we restart this parameter will make everything a bit faster. Right, so now we have a faster interval update. So next thing we are going to do is actually, let me also add a separator here. So html.hr. I just like to separate, the page content from the, from the title. That's just a style choice. See that? So we added the separator here. So how do we compute the highs and lows that we see on this chart? So we need to perform, some price action analysis on highs and lows on this chart here. So basically we need to, add this as the input for the backtester and then visualize it on the chart here. And then you see the gap here, so maybe you can ignore this gap with weekend. So here we can also do plotly ignore weekend gaps in time. Okay, and here I have an interesting, solution from Stack Overflow. So I'm just going to copy that and see if that will work. So I don't, see any weekends there. So when we create a figure here we have a fig, and we just update the axis, and here we have the boundaries. So let's try that. I don't know if that will work, but maybe it will. Oh, so that is very weird. So I think with the update, the boundaries are actually, or let's see, maybe it is the, or I can also use render mode SVG. Maybe that is a better solution. So I will just try the render mode and see if that works. So let me remove this and fig.update layout, and then render mode is equal to SVG. Maybe that works. I'm not sure if this works with the update layout. Call. No, that doesn't work. Or actually, you know what? So because I can't solve it right now, it's even not that important. I was just curious if there's a fast solution. Let's just run it the way it is right now. Okay, so on this chart, we need to draw the highs and the lows. And then check for potential, retracements. So in order to compute the highs and lows, I have to apply the same method I used, in my price action analysis candlestick intervals, page, and or Jupyter Notebook, actually. Sorry. And I need to compute the values here. So I need to convert that into a function, and that function will return a series of highs and lows. And here we have the same type, and so on. So what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to write a function define get HLs, which stands for highs and lows. And here we need as an input the OHLC data frame, and then I'm just gonna copy this entire block here, that is needed for for the analysis. So let's copy that and add it in this function here. As you see, we will also need the date to compute the highs and lows. So when I when I retrieve the OHLC data here, I need to compute the date column. So OHLC date is equal to OHLC time dot dt dot date. Okay, this music is making me sleepy. Let's just skip this one. Oh, better. So here we use the OHLC dataset that we're using. So we rewrite everything here to HLC. We don't need to display anything. And we also need to import pandas PD. And here, the output of this is the min-max df. So we return the minimum and max df. So here we import pandas as PD because we need it. Import pandas as PD. And then down here, yeah, we also need to, do the filtering, and the data cleaning that we've done in the section down here. So here we take that and then return the minimum maximum df2. So we can do that. So let's just put it down here, and yeah. Guys, do you know how to rename this variable? I think refactor is the correct thing here. So reaching signature, or what is it? I'm just gonna do it the old way. If anyone knows how to update all the variables in a file, then please let me know. But it wasn't so bad. It took us just like half a minute. So here I'm just going to print min max df, so we see if that works. And we can call this function in the new OHLC data here. So min max df is equal to new OHLC data, and we just need to call a function get high lows, get HLs with this data here, and then we print min max df. And yeah, we see that it's now working. And one last thing we need to copy is, when we were looking at this, we didn't need all the values here. We only needed the time, value, and type. So I'm going to copy this thing as well. Or I'm just going to add it into the function like that. And now I think I don't need to print it. And now I can overlay the data that I've made using the add trace. In the callback up here. So here we take the figure, we add a trace, and we take the minimum maximum df that we have here, and I also need to import plotly graph object. So from plotly.graph objects or import plotly graph objects as go. Okay, now let's refresh this, and I think it looks pretty good. So you see, here the highs and lows are updating based on the current data. So, the highs and lows that we've defined here may not, how would I say, be the same as in the future. So that is, a dangerous thing to backtest with, because these values can change. But at least what we have here is yeah, as the indicator. So so we can never take this first value into consideration. So that is potentially very dangerous. So I think how to continue working with this, what we have here. So we have high, low for the past 2 days. Yeah, again, I'm just looking how this app now works in real time. We'll see how to continue working with that. And let's have a look at today's Bitcoin trade, how it looks. -136, pretty good. Today, yeah, the market is going up again, and that's pretty good. Let's have a look at the daily. Actually, just close this because I don't need the lines there anymore. Yeah, so here, as you can see, this is our buying price here. So we entered here, and we still have 20 days to go to see how this trade will end up. Okay, so we made a low here, and then we made a new low here, and then we made a new high there. And now we are in this retracement phase. So this is the impulse. Here, this is the retracement. So the question is, could we potentially draw a Fibonacci line? Maybe. I'm not sure though. And this high doesn't look very persuasive, looks like it's just a spike, so maybe the trading bot could discard that because theoretically this looks like the same high to me. Basically, I'm just looking for, trading opportunities, how I could, design a trading strategy using this zigzag pattern. So for example, you have the low here, so we have the same low. So we would mark that, as the same low, and then we here have a breakout of this level here. But nothing moves exactly, perfectly like the way you want to. Otherwise, we could just trade manually. So I'm just thinking, what is the best way to build a trading strategy right now? Whether we are maybe taking too far, too complicated, whether we should just be using highs and lows, similar to the DE40 breakout bot, because that trading bot is pretty simple and had pretty good results based on what we've computed, and it isn't bad to do something similar. So also I'm thinking what's the advantage of having these zigzags, because the only advantage I see now is that we can measure these highs and lows, and for example we see low, high, now we have a lower low, actually higher low, and now we have a higher high. So potentially at this level, when we have a retracement, we have this retracement, maybe we could find a breakout on the lower time zone. So for example, on this candle right here, when we see this, resistance here, we could go into long position. So I think that is the best application of, analyzing these highs and lows. Looking for a retracement, looking for a breakout on the lower time zones, and then going long. So again, we have an impulse, then we have a retracement here, and because the retrace is not that strong, we are actually going on a breakout of this level here. So we are actually looking, maybe to go long at this level. And here, for example, right, see, we have the same highs here, and then went short, so potentially another short opportunity, but didn't work out. So those come up, keeps going up. And I'm asking myself, is the sequence of the highs and lows that important? Because theoretically, I could just do there's a low, there's another low, and there's a high, and then another high. So potentially the sequence might not matter. It can be two lows before a significant high is made. And here we have a very sharp drop. We see a test of this level here. It goes a little bit down, doesn't test the previous low here. Okay, So I think I was thinking a lot, like for the past like 10 minutes, and like I'm using this app right now, right, to see what looks real time, right? So in a Jupyter notebook, I don't have like the ability to see, you know, how the price develops. All I can see is like, oh, these are nice zigzags, but how does it actually like perform with every candle update? And that is, you know, very important for me to run the analysis. So let's say I try to, I have a low here, and I connect it to the next available high. Then I look for a new low, and the question is, this low must be like between this and this level. So I'm looking for retracement, and the question is, how big are these retracements usually, right? So the question is, when we have like this setup, like low and high, and let's say like we're in an uptrend, like for example, we can use like again SMA filters, or we can just use like higher high, or so we have this, we have this, we have this, and then we have this. Okay, or let me try it a little bit nicer. So we have like this pattern in the market. So we have a low, a high, just a high. Then we have a higher low, which is HL, and then a higher high. And now this is a question, right? This is the big question mark. What is the retracement level? So this is like our question. Like, is it the recent high? Do we find like the retracement at the recent high? Is it like a Fibonacci level? And like maybe try some other conditions. So I think this is the best way, you know, to apply what we've done right here. And so what is a chance to test the next high? Like how often times, whenever price drops back to this level, how often times with an aggressive entry does it test the higher high? Or how often does it go down back to Fibonacci level? Or how often does it go to the higher low, right? So strictly speaking, when you find this low, high, with, for example, let's say almost equal sized legs. And like this is what traders are looking for, geometries, right? So they're not trading any like random patterns, but like this specific exact case, I feel like is worth testing right now. Or then there are also like other examples. I feel like what if we have like we have one high and we have the same high, which is SH, right? We use like highs at the same level. We have a low and we have same low. So now we're actually having a pattern that you know, is basically like a channel or like a rectangle pattern. So is there a high chance that we find a reversal here, right? Is there a reversal? Or what is a chance of a breakout, like on average, right? Assuming that we have, you know, maybe some other filters. So this is the second pattern. So this is more like a reversal opportunity. And then we can also check, you know, the candlestick patterns. Like, do we have an aggressive candle that is going down here? So what are like the probabilities? And maybe starting with same highs and same lows might actually be you know, easier to work with, because then we don't need to, you know, work with equidistant patterns. So I'm just gonna try, and maybe I'm gonna actually go a step back and I'm just gonna, you know, work with normal candles. So let's say I have candles like 2 candles that are basically in the same range, sort of, right? So we have these 2 candles, and we have 2 candles with the same high. So this basically would mean that we have something like a double top, right? So we identify a double top within a 2-day span. So if you have like a double top candlestick pattern, so on the lower time frames it would look something like this. Like this represents this basically. So let's say with this double top, when is like a good time to entry? So if you have a double top and then price can either, there's always like this valley in double tops, right? So this valley can be like either low of the candle here, so this is basically low. So what is the chance once we double top, is it more likely that this double top, once for example reach 50% here, does it reach the bottom or does it reach the high? And I'm asking like so many questions now because yeah. Let's start with double top analysis. I think the best thing is to simplify everything, because now I'm like using like 100 candles in a row. Maybe I can try to like spot double tops like within the past 2 days. So I'm going yesterday and the day before that, to spot the double tops, and then use like the today's current session to see, if the double top is respected or if it is broken. So all we're just doing is like the test of highs and lows based on the current price action. For example here, right? See that? So I'm just going to take a screenshot because here we have, I think, a very nice double up pattern. So if I add that here, so here we have a very nice, oh no. So here, let me use yellow color so it's more visible. So we have a touch here, a touch here, and so this is the low of the session, this is our L, this is the high of the session, and then we want to see how this pattern holds. So first question is, we might see the low here from yesterday, and then at the start of session we might see some rejection patterns. So first we want to see, for example, a touch of this level, of this low, and we can maybe try to predict whether a double top will form. So maybe after the touch of this candle and then seeing like a bullish engulfing candle, we could potentially enter at the breakout of the candle that touched it, right? So we're just trading the breakout of the touch. So maybe this could be our entry. And again, I'm cherry picking, but I'm trying to again simulate a price action trade that we set up. So with the stop loss being below the candle low, so we would just take this candle low as our stop loss, and we would take our recent high as take profit. So this is, for example, a way I would try to simulate that. So we have a low here, a high here, we have a touch of the recent low here, right? So the first candle was here was touched, and maybe the first 3 candles that we see here. So we will evaluate the first 3 or 4 or 5 candles, I don't know yet, to look for some reversal opportunities and enter trade accordingly if the reward to risk is greater or equal to 1. And then you also see like the break high here, right? So maybe you could also think about like an aggressive entry, you know, where you have like an entry here also. And I know that I'm doing like a lot of like manual price action methodologies, but this is important, you know, to write down, because we are going to, you know, try to replicate that in Python. So I think this is like a good way to start. So, because theoretically you could think like, oh, okay, so this is like also, if I were to delete all of this, what I've drawn, we also see, you know, some other opportunities, you know, with the higher highs and higher lows. So if you look, for example, at this example on the left here, so what do you see here? We have a low here, we have a high here, and then we have a lower low here. And the question now is, like, there is no way to predict that the retracement level is at this level. Like, it's almost like impossible to predict. So let's say it rises here. So what is like our reference point to maybe go into reversal? And in this case, why not like try to backtest the Fibonacci level, right? The 61.8%. See if that works in our backtest. And then if you, for example, have like a bearish candle, right? The first candle that touches the Fibonacci level is here. And then at the breakout of this, right? Of this low, we could have an entry. So again, with the stop loss being here and the take profit being about this level, again with our reward to risk being greater or equal to 1. Again, price action, price action. So I guess, you know, I've drawn a lot of these lines. What time is it now? And it's only 5:36. So yeah, I would say that I think we can call it a day for today's stream, because, you know, we've always been streaming for over 3 hours. I think we've written down the ideas. We have the zigzag indicator, we have the highs and lows, and now all we need to do, you know, is to apply, you know, these sort of like trading logic into the highs and lows. Like identify, okay, this is a low, this is a high, this is a lower low, and how much, by how much is the lower low? Like maybe compute the ratios of the legs, that this lower low is, for example, you know, a 1.5 times greater. And then when we get into the retracement, check if some Fibonacci level is being met, and see, you know, if we have some reversal patterns on the candles. Then we run the backtest and see, you know, how we do like trend continuation patterns with the retracements. And also we can try to analyze, yeah, as I said, the double bottoms again. So very common trading principles and strategies that we're going to backtest. So I guess, yeah, I'm calling it a day, guys. So thank you for joining my today's stream, and let me just you know, schedule you know, the stream for next week. So on the 14th of October, we are going to do some price action recognition Python, and I'm going to also schedule like a member only stream, right, where you can just do price action or, you know, discuss other things. So I just wanted, you know, to make the people who support me feel a bit special. So here, anyone who is you know, subscribed to a membership on YouTube, we will be streaming on Tuesday 14th. So time to schedule the stream now. Okay. Okay, so nice. So I'm scheduling a stream, and it's scheduled for the 14th at 14:00 as usual. So 2 p.m. GMT plus 2. Alright everyone, so thank you very much for joining my stream today. I had a lot of fun coding that. Now I feel a bit more tired, but yeah, we'll continue on this project, and hopefully, we'll have some, more results in the upcoming days. So have a great weekend, and see you guys on Monday. Bye.